So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show with live people, all having a chat in natter, having a natter in chat, having a chat in natter, and asking questions and interacting with me. And it's recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I was just going to go very quickly through my colour mixing with just 3 colours. So if you wanted to experiment with a limited palette, or if you couldn't afford very much, you can make beautiful colours from three colours. So I'd got 3 Cotman tubes of watercolours. This is not professional, but it's quite good quality. It's the Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolour, and it's in a tube. I had a lemon yellow, a cerulean blue and a Elysian crimson, and I made all these colours from that. So in order to do that, I make a palette of about 10 colours. Just need a plain piece of paper. So what we have here is cerulean blue, Elysian crimson and lemon yellow, which they're a bit tatty now, but this is the palette from the horse picture. So in order to make a cad red, an orange and a cad yellow, you take the Elysian crimson and you put a touch of it to some lemon yellow, just a touch, and you make an orange. And then you put some more Elysian crimson, just a touch, and you make the orange into a cad red. You then put some more yellow, lemon yellow, and you have a touch of the orange into the lemon yellow to make a cad yellow to warm it up. So you've got the 5 colours from 2. You then take a cold blue, a cerulean blue, an Elysian crimson, because that's all you've got, and you make a purple. And then you take some more cerulean blue and you add the purple until you get a warm purpley blue. Now it's almost impossible to get French ultramarine. I just can't do it. There's a trick, but I can't do it. So my purples were quite, my cold purpley blue was a bit, the purples and the blues were quite cold. I didn't get that lovely warm purpley blue, but I still managed to make a warmer blue than the cerulean. And then you take the cerulean, the very cold blue, and you make the cold yellow, and you make some bright greens. So from 3 colours you can get a palette of nice colours. You don't want purple, you don't want a tall purple, Suzanne. You don't want a purple in your green. If you put purple in your green, you'll get a dull green. Because remember, green's opposite red on the colour scale. It's its complementary colour. And in order to get some shades and some shadows and some dark greens, you add red. So if you want a bright green, you don't want any red at all. You just want a cold yellow and a cold blue. Now a cobalt blue is, in colour wise, cerulean blue with purple in it, because that's how I made a purpley blue. Now cobalt blue is normally, is still quite cold. It's not a purpley blue, it's a cold one. But to get a very vivid green you need the coldest blue, and I think that's cerulean blue. You don't really need a cobalt blue. You need cerulean and you need French ultramarine for your beautiful bright purples. But cobalt blue is normally put into like this set. You know, I'm not happy that I would quite easily swap my cobalt blue for a cerulean blue because it's cooler, so my greens would be brighter. Your cold seas are cerulean blue. So so cerulean blue is your cold blue, and as you said, cobalt blue is slightly purpler than cerulean, but cerulean is very much like your cyan that's in your printer. It's your brightest, coldest, palest blue. And that's what you need to go right to that spectrum, to that end, before you start to come back. Cobalt blue's next, and then there's one or two others, and then there's French ultramarine, and then you get into the purpley blues, and then you get to purple. Did that make any sense? So in a colour wheel, the cobalt blue would be there, my French ultramarine would be there. That's another cobalt blue. Where's my cerulean blues? Pop them somewhere now. Where's my cold blues? I've just had them in my hand. I don't know what I've done with them. Because this is my colours here. So I've already got some purples here, but you go purple to pink to red, because alizarin crimson, and sometimes it's called magenta, pinky purples. Look at the colours. Forget the names. Look at the colour. Is it a purpley red, a pinky red, or is it an orangey red? If it's an orangey red, it's a cad red. It's going towards orange and yellow. If it's a pinky red, it's alizarin crimson. It's and the other one I've just said, magenta, and it's towards the pinks, and it's a warm red. The purples are warm. French ultramarine is a warm blue, but for the brightest greens you want a cold blue. So if you don't have a cadmium yellow, if you only have a very cold yellow, you can make a cadmium yellow colour. It won't be pure cadmium because that's expensive, but you could make a warm yellow by adding a touch of orange. If you have a cadmium or a warm yellow, you cannot make a cold yellow. So if you can only afford three, you want a cold yellow, a cold blue, and a pink, a warm red. Now I only do it this, you see, if eventually this would be the wheel, your greens would be lighter and lighter and they'd go to yellow. So that would be my colour wheel. So I've gone from light yellow to warm yellow to orange to cadmium red to pinky reds to pinks to purples to purpley blues to cold blues, greeny blues, greens, light greens, and then you would go back to yellow. And that's my colour wheel. Just because I've got a phthalo green and a phthalo blue, I like those separate. So they're what I've been using because they were in the set of Hydrus. But if you look at my making 630 some colours from 3 printer inks, the colour mixing would be slightly different because they're all three very vibrant for obvious reasons. The printer needs the most vibrant, the most extreme of that colour. But it's still, the principle is the same. To make an orange, you need a yellow, and it needs to be warmed up with a bit of red. To make a purpley blue, you've got to have a bit of red in the blue to make it a purpley blue, because that's how you make purple. You're just taking it the bit bluer side of purple. Does that make sense? So have a look at that, because it teaches you how to make the colours from scratch. But you only ever need, if you see a set of about 6 to 10 colours, and they have a pinky red and a cold red, a cadmium red, they have a warm yellow, a cadmium yellow, or a lemony yellow, a cold yellow, they have a cold blue, and they have a purpley French ultramarine blue. You only need 6 colours. You then normally get a brown, and you get a green, and then you probably get a black and a white. But only buy a set of colours if it has the 6 main colours, 2 of each primary. You need 2 primary yellows, a warm and a cold, 2 primary blues, a warm and a cold, and 2 primary reds, a warm and a cold. You can make greys, you can make blacks, browns, reddy browns, turquoises, any colour on the planet, olives, but you need those 6 colours. If you don't have those 6 colours, you can't mix different colours. So that's my obsession with 6 colours. And if you look at, if I don't think I have it handy, I may do. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let me see if I can find my little book. I meant to keep it with my colour work, so that if anybody asks me, I can get it. I haven't got my glasses on, so that's probably why I can't see it. Bear with me 2 seconds. Kneecap. Oh, no. That's nice. Not nice. I don't know why I put that little book somewhere. I'm sure I put it where I thought I would have it handy. Oh, this is the little tin of Neocolour 2s as well that I found. This is quite an old tin as well. Neocolour, they are called Neocolour 2s, those. Just bear with me 2 seconds. See if I can find this little. I swore to myself I keep it handy. If you look at a couple of videos that I've called Colour Something or Other, I go through this. I've gone through about 3 times this sketch pad with all the colours. But what I did with it is I took 2 primary colours and I mixed it with 2. I went through every single colour I had. So you knew how to. It was the orange. I had a cadmium red, and I had a celerium. Not celerium. What do I call my cadmium red? Elysian crimson. And I had green. And I added a touch of green to the cad red, and more and more and more, and a touch of green to the Elysian crimson. And the colour difference on either side was fantastic, just by using a different red. And so that teaches you that the warm red gives you the I think they were the brick reds, and the cold one gave you with the orange you can get the olives. So sometimes you want to make an olive and you're using the wrong red, and it doesn't matter what you do, you will never get an olive colour because you're using the wrong red. Because you've got to have an orange in your olive, and to get orange you need a cold cadmium, a better orange. You need the brightest orange, you need the cadmium red, and you need cadmium yellow, and you'll get the brightest orange. So it doesn't. If you had a pinky red, you'll never get an olive, because you've got to have the yellow in the red and the yellow in the green, in the blue to make the green. And again, I take the blues. I take a cold blue and I take a warm blue, and I add yellow. Sorry, I add orange. Oh, I can never get this right. Hang on, it's purple. Purple is yellow and blue is orange. Blue is yellow. No, blue is orange and purple is yellow. And if you add the orange to a dark blue, you get completely different than if you add it to a pale blue. and the browns and the greens are different. You get the olive colours if you're on the warmer side, the warmer side with the gamboge, and the orangey bit, because you need that bit of red. But when you've got a cold blue, the cerulean blue, there's no red in it at all. So you'll get some gorgeous greens, but you'll never get an olive, because you need the red in the green and you need the red in the blue to get the orange. Does that make sense? So, as I say, there is a video about how to make the colours. So what I was doing today is I've put in here my pans. I've taken out, because I'm going away, and I love this, but oof, I can't even open the lovely thing. So I've taken these colours out of here, and they're probably doubled up, because I say any good quality set has, I've got lemon chrome and yellow ochre. Yellow chrome is a cold yellow. Yellow ochre is a warmer one. And I don't think there isn't and vermilion. Now a vermilion is a cold red. There's a light red and a vermilion, alizarin crimson. So you've got your pinky red and you've got your cold reds. And so this is a really good set, and of course it is, because it's a professional set, so it will be. But you can always tell a good set by its colours. This again had a lot of cold yellows, warm yellows, cold reds, pinky reds, and it also gives you greens and some cold blues and some warm blues. And then they always throw in black and white and some browns. But try making your own browns. Try making different browns. Try different reds with browns. If you do the red and cold and the same colour wheels that I did, you can make 635 colours from 3 printer inks. And it will teach you how much red needs to be in something, and how much blue needs to be in something, and how much yellow needs to be in something. You don't need sets of hundreds of different colours, says she. I will buy a cerulean blue, but I've mixed most of these. A quick slurp of coffee, excuse me. If you look on here, I got some really grungy purples because my blue wasn't good, but I really like these colours. Working with a limited palette, there's one that works with just orange, blue. I think one guy, if you look on YouTube, and he just works with orange and blue, and you can do the most amazing things with orange and blue. Especially landscapes and natural colours. So I'm going to put mine in order. So I've got those here, and then this is the little palette that you can lift out of here. So I've taken it out, and I had some colour underneath that I didn't want to destroy, so I've just put a little bit of, it is actually watercolour, but it's not expensive, it's the postcard watercolours. Because I thought if I put these colours in here, it's going to give me more. And then I can lift it out and I've got a palette. Or when I'm colouring in, I don't need to make a palette, I just use the colours that I've got, because there is enough colours here to sink a battleship, really, so I don't really need to be, and I've also got these colours here, and I've got a plastic palette there if I want, and I've got 600 and some colours in here. So I really don't need to be mixing, and that's, if you're not well, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to mix. I can find, I don't know how many greens. Really, I should put all the greens together from the palest and do it like a colour wheel. I might do that next time, actually. If I make another one, I'll take all the colours and put them all in colour order rather than in product order. Because in this particular book, I do not use them, apart from the graphic tint, I don't use them in order of what they are, apart from occasionally I will just work from Derwent pencils, because I love them so much. There's a couple of videos where I just use the Derwent pencils from here, and I get some beautiful watercolour effects, and that's in the Colin Thompson book. and I really love that book. I can't decide which book to take with me. I think it's going to have to be the new Mythomorphia one, but the Colin Thompson one, the first page here was all done from my little book of watercolours, and it didn't destroy them, but I got some really nice watercolour effects. So I loved my little book, and I'd forgotten just how easy it was to use. So I've rescued some packaging from the Abbey, and again I'm going to cut this down, and it will make me 4 palettes to go in here, or 4 spare pages. Anybody got any questions? So I'm going to put these in colour wheel order, so I'm going to get rid of that for the moment. So I'm going to make a colour wheel on here. So start with the coldest yellow, which is my Cerulean yellow. Sorry, it isn't, it's my lemon yellow. And some of these have come from another set. I did buy this set thinking they were this size, and I was getting a bargain, and I wasn't, so I was a bit cross at that, but never mind. So some of them are doubled up. That's got a Windsor yellow, so it is a different yellow, and it's slightly, I think it's slightly warmer than cad. I just wouldn't swear to it. Or slightly colder, I can't remember. That's a cadmium yellow, and then that one's a lemon yellow. And then that says it's a cadmium yellow, so we'll just have a look at that, and that's a cad yellow. And then we've got this Naples yellow here. And then there's a gamboge and yellow ochre. And then I'm going to go to red, cadmium red. Have another yellow ochre there, so I have to see what that's going. So we've got actually a couple of greens here. We've got a sap and a hooker's green, so sap is nearer the yellow. And so the Cerulean blues will go next, and then the cobalt blues. Then the French ultramarines will go next. I don't know where my big French ultramarine is. It was in my hand a moment ago. Oops, stuck to that. I had it in my hand a moment ago. How strange. But I do have that French ultramarine, and I think it's the same. Or did I treat myself to series 3? When you're buying professional paints, some are more expensive than others. And unless you're going to sell your paintings, I wouldn't go for the most expensive. And then we have a Prussian blue, which is colder than French ultramarine, so it's nearer the reds, but it's not as near as the blues as French ultramarine, so it goes in the middle. And we have French ultramarine. Now I've got a permanent rose here, so I wouldn't normally buy that. Then I've got a carmine that was in this was a set in the bottom of a box. And there is a red brown there actually as well, and some browns, so I'm not sure I'm going to put those. So we go from cadmium red to, I think carmine is not quite as red as Elysian crimson. Permanent rose, and we go that way around here like that. So what I'm going to do is take my browns and put them here. So there's a lamp black, but I think that's solid, and I don't use black anyway. I normally make my own. There's burnt umber, so there's a very dark. There's an Indian red, which is quite a nice red, and I was going to take that other red out, but I think I'll leave that one there. I'm going to put my yellow ochre with my browns because I like it there. So when I finish with green, it would automatically go to yellow, but I'm going to put my browns here. So if this was an actual palette for painting, you need to put your browns somewhere. So this is how I would have my colours. So from light to dark, and then probably put black on the end if I had space, but I don't normally use black. In oils and acrylics I would put black out, but in watercolours I like to make my own blacks. And I think those colours, that colour wheel shows how I made my own blacks as well. So I've got to decide, am I going to put them in lines of colour or am I going to put them in a colour wheel? So I think I'm actually going to put the yellows in rows. I think I'll put them in rows because it represents what's here. So these are like my rows here. I've tried a little bit to put them in order. But you need to do what's easiest for you and what's the best. So that's my colour. That's my colour scheme. I'm putting Naples yellow. I'd like to put it over there really. Yeah, I'm going to put that over there with my browns, I think. I might put that with my browns. And then I've got a row of reds. And I have a row of blues. Has anybody got any questions? So cobalt blue isn't supposed to be purpley, but it's more purpley than Prussian blue. Prussian blue is cold, but it's dark. I thought cobalt blue was quite cool. Yeah, cobalt is warmer, but it's not as warm as French ultramarine, which I can't find now. And then the cerulean blue is the coldest one. So for very bright greens, cerulean blue. But do a colour, make greens with all the yellows you've got and all the blues you've got, and then mix them across. And then find out, you'll find a hooker's green in there, you will find a sap green, you will find forest greens, you will find greeny purple, greeny blues. You will find the different yellows with the different blues gives you hundreds of different greens. And as I say, it's always nicer really to mix your own. My problem is getting these tops off. And I've also decided what size I want to do this. Because some of these aren't quite as big. So I think that's going to keep me going a fair amount of time. I do have a little palette knife somewhere. I have a palette knife. I would have liked that just a little bit squarer. Probably want a couple of millimetres, because remember, the thinner it is, the quicker it's going to dry. And I don't want it protruding because it's going to touch everything else. So that's my, whoopsie, lemon yellow. That's series 4. just going to have a look and see if next to it if there's problems. Let's get the tops off. Some nice person has borrowed. This is why I can't use them, because I can't get the tops off. I think this one is going to be a different colour, so I'm going to put this one out as well. So if you look at this, this is a lemon. I'm actually going to make them touch, because this is just for colour work. This is not for professional watercolours. This is just to colour in. So if you look at those two, they look different, and yet one says lemon yellow on it from Winsor Newton, and one's Taylor and Rowney. That's series 4, and this is series A, which is the cheaper one, I think. I think it's the cheaper one, but it's still going to be some nice colour, and it looks a lot runnier as well. But they're both supposed to be professional, but just by having these and putting them out, as I say, these were free in the bottom of a box. And apologies now. Oh, I'll have to just bear with me 2 seconds. Sorry about that, guys. But I thought we'd have a very quick live bunny cam. Oh, sorry about that. I never have visitors. I never have visitors. I've just got to watch her because she can jump out. No, no, I'm just going to do this. If you just put the trolley in front of the. Yes, and then they can stay in there, and then I can go upstairs. Thank you, darling. You've just got to be very careful with them. Sorry about that. I never get anybody come to the house because of the dogs. So, here are the babies. Here are the babies. So, they're on a heat pad normally. I've just put that on my paint pot. Love you, darling. Have a good time. Behave. Whoopsie. They are getting big. I've got paint on my hands. And we think this is, oh gosh, they're coming out. Come on then, as soon as you're awake. So he has, whoopsie, they're getting very big. And we're trying to play with them. They're 2 weeks old, but he's got the fluffiest little tummy. Whoopsie. And the biggest feet. Oops, it's difficult on this. He's got the biggest feet. You don't like being upside down, do you? No, he's got the biggest feet. He has the biggest feet. Don't you? And he's got a bobtail. And then there's little girl here. We think she's a little girl. Whoopsie. And she's a terror. And she's wriggly as well. She was the runt, and she's got the dark mark on her head. But she's the terror. She's the one that can jump out of the dish. And then there's this little beautiful one who's the spit of the daddy, and he's got the fluffy tummy. He's just a little fluffy bun. I've got dirty fingers. You don't like my dirty fingers, do you? He is just the cutest little bunny on the planet. Aren't you? The cute boy. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. So they're all different colours. So we're not sure. I think they're going to be lop ears, big ones, because of the feet, because he's got just huge feet. Yep, like Mama. Like Mama. You're beautiful, aren't you? You're terror. You're beautiful. So they've just started running round now. So we have them in this box, but I have to keep it covered so they keep warm. So you're going to have another feed in a couple of hours, aren't you? So Mummy does really well. But they were all kind of bruised and battered, so we had to... You're going to snuggle up now. You're going to snuggle up. But they're really, really fluffy. You said it was you were snuggled and I disturbed you, didn't I? Sorry. Are you going to go snuggle with them as well? I know. It's quite warm in here though, so you're all right. Mr. Escapey Pants, aren't you? Oopsie, you're not coming out. He's such an escapey boy. It's going to be terrible in a couple of days when they really want to be running around, isn't it? Exploring the world. You want to explore the world, don't you? So I'm going to pop them back asleep and get on with my... So there we had a bit of a bunny cam. A bit of a bunny cam. You're going to be a good boy now. Go to sleep. We think there's 2 boys and a girl, but we're not sure. He's the spit of his mum. Is that your little tummy rumbling I can hear? Hmm? were scratching their eyes to get their eyes open, but they're open now. I think this one's open fully now. Oh, do you think so? Do you think so? Well, it was just an emergency. We didn't expect to take them away from the mum, but as I say, when we found the other two, are you having a chew on that? Are you? Did I frighten you then? Sorry. So they're getting a little bit cold now. Although the central heating's on and this is still quite warm. But they're still tiny, so they just eat and sleep. I'll go back to sleep now. So I'll just take them upstairs and I love his little white tail. He's got a little white bunny tail. Haven't you? You've got a little bobtail. So we don't know what size they're going to be. Because the mummy is huge. And we think the daddy is like George. George is the spit of this little one here. He's a miniature dwarf. Unless, of course, she was pregnant when we got her. There's always that possibility. Are you okay under there? So I go put them safe away. So I should be back in a couple of minutes. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Oh dear. Right. I squished the paint onto there, but never mind. Sorry about that. I have one daughter going away for the weekend, and I have the other one coming home for the weekend. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Yes, I thought time was getting on. I'm just going to finish this bit here, and then because I just needed to record something at all. So yes, that's fine, guys. Oh dear, excuse me. I've just done that, and I shouldn't do that really. So that was my lemon yellow, which I've done. So I'm going to put them back in the tin. So thanks, guys, for stopping by. Sorry about the interruption, but I thought, seeing as we'd brought them downstairs, it's the first time we brought them downstairs. Excuse me. Oh dear. Right, so I now need, so that was the lemon yellow. I'm going to put a little bit more because I think I squashed it. This is why I find it difficult with the lids doing this, but never mind. Oh, excuse me. Right, so I think, what's that one? That one says it's, oh, that's cotton. I'm not going to put that one in there. So I've got, I'm going to have a look at Windsor Yellow. I think Windsor Yellow is going to be paler. Whoopsie, whoopsie. Than cadmium yellow. Oh my goodness me, my hands today. Yeah, so Windsor Yellow is slightly warmer than cadmium. So I'm going to put this cadmium here. And I'm not bothered that they're touching. It's the fact that I've got yellows in here. Professional yellows that I can just touch. Oh, for goodness sake, Mrs. Yeah, I can't do this because I can't get the lids on and off. Oh, dear me. And this is Windsor Yellow, which is slightly warmer. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of colour there, but believe me, there is. That's why, because that's the different lid. And I've lost the lid for that one now. It's there. It's that one. So I've got a cadmium yellow here. And again, that's a colder yellow. But I'm not bothered. I'm just going to be looking at the yellow and touching it for its colour. And then gamboge is quite warm. But as I say, I need to do this because I'm going away tonight. Now I'm going to have a quick look at this cad yellow and see what it does. Again, it looks a different yellow. And anything that doesn't need it says it's a cad yellow, but it actually is quite, it's quite a warm cad yellow. Is that, whoopsie, it's quite a warm cad yellow. And I've had these many years. They've been in a they arrived in a tin probably nearly 10 years ago, so they do need using up. This is why I'm putting them in here. I'm actually going to go, I think I'm actually going to go browns. I've decided I'm going to put my and because I'm not using these as a watercolour, I'm just using them as a colour just going to mix that up. It looks a bit... It just needs a little bit of a mix, does that? Whoops, but not quite a mix as in... But that's going to dry. It's going to be perfectly alright. The idea is to get some colours. Just need a clean baby wipe. Just to get some colours out. I'm not sure, Suzanne. I was going to try. I'm going to take the laptop with me. If I'm very ill, I'll be in the hotel all day. I'll be streaming. But if I'm not, I'm going to try and do it from behind the stall. But it depends how noisy it is. If it's going to be really noisy, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. So I'll be gone until Monday. Monday. I think we're back Monday lunchtime, Monday evening. So I might try and stream Tuesday night, but it might be Wednesday, so it's a week. So apologies for that. I really don't want to go for some reasons, and I want to go for others, if that makes sense. This is the reason I can't do watercolours, because I can't get tops off. By the time I've messed about and done this. So this is yellow ochre, which has a mind of its own. It's a wonderful colour, and I would have yellow ochre. But different companies have slightly different. They're made of the same pigment, but if you look at this one, that's slightly different, and that's a yellow ochre. That one's Winsor Newton, and the other one is somebody else. So we've got a brown madder Elysium, and we've got a burnt umber. So we'll see what colour. I might leave that actually, and I'm going to go for reds. I'm going to put the reds down next. This one is a cadmium red. Oh, thank you. Oh dear. Do not tell my dentist I do this. She kept saying to me, "You need a brace for the evenings." I said, "What?" "You need a brace for nighttime, a nighttime guard." I went, "No, I don't." She says, "You do." I hadn't the heart to tell her. It's for getting tops of paint. Do not try this at home, everybody. So again, these have been in here years and years, so they need to be out and they need to be used. And I was thinking about doing some more watercolours. I may have a go at some watercolours. So, and this is a cadmium red. This is a Dale Rowney cadmium red. So that's slightly, you can see a slight difference in those two colours. And then I have another cadmium red, but this is slightly different because this is a different series. So again, that's another different one. And again, I'm just doing this because I don't want to mix colours. I just want to be able to touch that damp rigger brush onto here. So carmine is pinky red, as you will see, but it's not as pinky red as Elysian crimson. And then we have my Elysian crimson, which is a very, very strong purpley red. Oops, but then we have a pink. A rose madder is a very, very pinky red now. And again, you know, this is going to be a perfect amount of colour for lots and lots and lots of colouring. So So I'm going to do my French ultramarine. She's going to go there. And I've actually lost my French ultramarine. I don't know what I've done with it. I don't know how I can lose it, but I've put a tube of French ultramarines somewhere now, and it's completely disappeared. So I'm going to leave a gap because I'll find it in a minute. So I'm going to leave a gap, and I'm going to put cobalt blue. And again, these are quite old, so it might actually not even come out. No, it's not. I don't think it's going to come out, is it? Because I think this cobalt blue is going to be different to my other cobalt blue. And again, I'm not really bothered that it's not perfect. It's just, I just want it to be a piece of it there. So this is Dale Rowney, and it's slightly pinkier. It's a slightly warmer blue. And again, you know, different companies have different ideas on the colours. And this is Prussian blue, so this is a very nice dark deep blue, this one. So you'd use that one if you wanted to get a smoke grey. And then this is Cerulean, so I use quite a lot of this one. I like this one. It's my Cerulean blue, my very cold blue. And then I have two greens, which I'm going to pop on here. And of course I could have mixed some colours together. I didn't have to. I think this one's completely been shot. But what you can do with this, if it's completely gone, you can open it up and the colour will be inside. And it will be, I mean, this is sap green, it will be in a block if you're clever enough to open it carefully. So don't ever throw it away because it's gone hard. Now acrylics and oils, you're scuppered, you've got to throw it away. But watercolours, you do not need to throw away this fantastic colour. And I'm just trying to think where I can pop this. I can actually put it somewhere. Again, I do not use the whites. Let's see if I can get this one out of here. Sometimes they pop out. So I can take that white out. And I'm going to actually, there is a bit of white still left in there, but I'm going to force this, in to make a pan. And there's still quite a lot of colour in there, so I'm going to put that into there. I'm not throwing that away. That will go in there and it will come out. Because there's tons of colour on there. It's almost a pan full and it's sap green, so it's a nice one. And I think the same thing's happened to this one. This is Madder Brown Elysian. Madder Brown Amada Elysian. So again, it's going to be a colour that I haven't got, so there's no point wasting it. Oh, thank you, King Girl. Thank you. Yes, I hope everybody has a good week, and you'll have peace and quiet. So this one is kind of semi gone, so if we're very careful we can actually, if we don't cut our fingers off, we can scrape some colour out. And again, once it dries, it's going to be exactly like all the others, it's just going to be a dried colour. If you had strong hands, you could nip this back to its original shape. You wouldn't have to work it with it so thin, but I can't do that. So I'm just having to take what I can get out of there. That's going to make a really nice deep red. And then we have an Indian red. And when these dry, they'll become just like a pan. And then we've got a burnt umber and a raw umber, I think. I think I prefer the umbers to the siennas, but hey ho. See, I've had these for so many years. Ow! I've been so frightened to use them. Tempted to see if I could glue a piece of that down, but so there is some black in there. I might be tempted just to put a little bit of black out. Oh, I can't get the top off. Excuse me. So I've got some really nice colours in there. Now some are a bit runnier than others, but they're all professional watercolours. And they will dry out. Within a week that will be solid, but I don't not really care about that. It means I've just got some extra reds. In a perfect world I'd like them all together, but it's not going to bother me too much, and I think that's going to be the wrong way around. Yes, it is. And I can actually shut that. They are not going to run. They won't run. I could cut that piece of plastic to go over there though, because that will protect that side and that will protect that side. I might do that actually. I might do that. I think, I don't know what that is on there. I could cut that down. It just seems so perfect. I'm trying to think what it's from. I think it was from Christmas stickers. I think that's what it was from. But that one is bigger than that one. Oh no, that's bigger. So I'll cut this one down. And I think actually if I just clean that off there, otherwise it'll stick, and there's tons of colour on there. I probably just changed the blade, I think now maybe. Oh no, a wet baby wipe. So that's a really unusual brown. It's a very reddy brown, but it's probably a pinky reddy brown. So it's definitely a madder red, a madder red brown. But I just find when you're colouring in and you don't want to be bothered mixing, you just want to touch a colour and go. And sometimes I love the little book of watercolours and I get the very pale colours, but sometimes I want some vibrant colours, and I think I've got the best of both worlds now. Just give my scissors. So I think if I just, it might be a little bit sharp, but I'll just get the initial. I can actually probably, if I just cut that down there, I can use my guillotine. I know you shouldn't do, but I saw it sticking about and I thought, oh, I could use that. So, see if I can just get rid of this plastic. Oh, it's not going to cut it. There's always a lot of messing about when you're recycling, but there's something really cool about recycling. And I want to leave it that length actually, so I wonder if I could take it over there, see if I could cut it now. A little bit of brute force, and we've managed to do that. And I'm going to put a little bit of sellotape around the edge because it will be sharp, because this is quite tough plastic. But that would have gone in landfill, so I'm a dead happy person about that. And I can just cut the edges off. So if I actually sat that in there, I could stick that to there, couldn't I? Just get a marker and draw around it. Oh dear. So if I stuck it to that bit, that's the bit that this bit doesn't move and that bit moves, so I need to stick it to the middle bit, so that's fine. And I need to cut it there. There's a bit of a wavy line, but pen top. Got to stick to me now. Oh dear, honestly, Heather, such a messy pup. Messy pup. So I'm just going to very carefully cut round this. And again, you know, it's not perfect, but it's just going to do a little job. Once all those protruding ones are used up a bit, I won't need this, and I can, if it gets on my nerves, I can get rid of it, or I can throw it away because it hasn't cost me anything. sellotape. I've got some micro tape, I don't know if that's any good. I did try to hide some sellotape, but the terrors get in here and things disappear. Aha! So I need a piece about that big. I wonder if I'm going to be clever enough to get that. How on earth did I do that? Messy pup today. Am I? So I think that's going to be slightly better. I think that might actually touch. I think I've made that a bit too deep, but I'm going to squish them out a bit. Squish that out a bit. Oh, it's already got a good skin on it, so it's doing well. So it's bunched up a bit there. This is just the one place I didn't really want it to bunch up. Just put a little bit of double-sided sticky tape on this section here. And that will hold it down a bit. I haven't been quite as clever as I thought I would be, but hey ho, never mind. Let's put that on there. Let's see. Put that there. Don't you just hate double-sided sticky tape? Come on, you little terror. So that should hold it down a little bit better. There we go. It's bunched to the other end now, which is quite okay, because I can cut a bit off at that end. It will be millimetres, I know, but I'll cut a couple of millimetres off. It's quite difficult to cut a tiny amount of, but there we go, and we should shut perfectly okay now. Of course, the other thing I could do is put it in because that won't come out now, will it? I can put it in that way up. That was my first thought, is to put it in that way up. So then none of them protruding. So it depends on how much of a mess I make of things. So I could have put them in there. I'm just going to clean that because it looks rather grotty. So thanks for stopping by with me, guys. I know everybody's been busy and I've had to disappear twice, which is very unprofessional, and I apologise about that. It was a bit of a mishmash of a stream. Very impromptu. Just wanted to get organised for my trip away, so you can get. So there won't be any videos for a week unless I can maybe try to make some while I'm away, but could be a little bit difficult. So that could go either that way or I can turn it over. Now I'm going to leave it under the lights because it already had got a skin on it, so it probably would dry. So thanks for watching. I've now got all my colours in there ready to take with me on my trip out. So thank you for watching.